Passing data between procedures, understanding parameters, arguments, and return values in Excel VBA. This lesson connects directly with previous episodes, so make sure to watch them if you have not done so yet. In our last episode, we learned what subs and functions are, and the next logical question is, how do I send information into a sub or a function? This is where parameters and arguments come in. Imagine you are building a payroll system. You have one procedure that calculates salaries and another that prints pay slips. But how does the salary calculated in one procedure get into the other? Or perhaps you've written a function that calculates VAT. How do you tell that function which amount to calculate VAT for? You can do that by using parameters and arguments. These two concepts allow different parts of your application to communicate with each other. And once you understand them, you stop writing repetitive code and start building flexible, reusable applications like professional developers do. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Raphael, and on this channel, we learn how to transform Microsoft Excel into a professional software development platform using VBA. In the previous episode, we learned the difference between subs and functions. We discovered that a sub performs an action, whilst a function performs a calculation and returns a value. But here's an important question. How does these procedures know what information to work with? How does a function know which numbers to add? How does a sub know which customer to save, and so on? The answer is by passing information using parameters and arguments. This is one of the most important programming concepts you will ever learn because almost every professional VB application depends on it. So, what does passing data means? Let's start with a simple idea. Imagine you walk into a restaurant. The chef knows how to cook already, but before the chef starts cooking for you, you'd have to tell him what you want. So you might say, I would like grilled chicken with rice. The chef already knows how to cook this dish, so he will smile at you and nod his head. You simply provided the information the chef needed to complete the task. Procedures work exactly the same way. Procedure already knows what to do, so you simply have to provide the information it needs, and that information is called an argument. Let's now take a look at what a parameter is. A parameter is a variable listed inside a procedure or a function that receives information. Let's create a simple sub procedure. Sub welcome user into bracket username as string, end sub, and in between the sub we would write message box welcome and username. Notice this part, username as string. This is a parameter. Think of it as an empty container waiting to receive information. It doesn't contain anything yet. It simply says, I'm waiting when someone calls on me. I'm expecting a person's name. Let's continue by looking at what an argument is. Did you also notice the part of our sub which says welcome user? Therefore, we can write welcome user as Raphael. Here, Raphael is the argument. The argument is the actual information being sent. Think of it like a mailing package. The parameter is the mailbox, and the argument is the letter placed inside the mailbox. Without an argument, the parameter remains empty. What is the difference between parameters and arguments? Let me make this crystal clear. Supposing we have this sub calculate bonus into bracket salary as double, end sub. In between the sub, we would then write calculate bonus is 5,000. Inside the bracket, we have salary as double. This is the parameter. Now we can call calculate bonus here, and calculate bonus is the argument. A simple way to remember this is parameter as a placeholder and argument as an actual value. Passing multiple arguments. You can also send more than one piece of information. Example, sub register student into bracket student name as string, age as integer. Then we can write this as the output. When calling it, we might write register student is John Doe and 18. Here, John Doe is the first argument and 18 is the second argument. Each argument matches its corresponding parameter. Parameters in functions. Let's look at this example. Function multiply number 1 as double, number 2 as double. End function. Then we'll call it by saying multiply number 1 and number 2. We can now call it in another part of our code. Let's say in the btn result click event. We can write result is equal to multiply 25 by 4. And when we click on the button, it performs the calculation. Then it will return the value 100. This makes functions incredibly flexible because they can work with different values every time they are called. Let's look at this example. Imagine we are building Rafina POS. Instead of creating a different procedure for every customer, we can create one reusable procedure and say sub print receipt, customer name as string, total amount as double. We can use this same function for various customers. For example, we can call it like this: print receipt, Ama Mensa, and total amount is 250. Or print receipt for Kwame Boateng, the total amount is 875. This makes the same procedure work for every customer. And that's the power of passing arguments in action. Let's look at some common beginner mistakes you are likely to come across. First on the list, sending the wrong data type. For example, you might say calculate age as 20. If the procedure expects a number, sending text can cause errors. Always make sure your argument matches the parameter data type. Number 2, sending arguments in the wrong order. For example, you might say sub employee name as string, salary as double. But when you are calling on it, you would say employee name is 5,000 and salary as Raphael. This puts the salary where the name should be and the name where the salary should be. The order in which you write your argument matters. Number 3, forgetting the required arguments. If a procedure expects 2 arguments, you must provide both unless you've designed optional parameters. One of the biggest advantages of parameters is code reuse. Imagine writing one salary calculator. Instead of creating separate procedures for every employee, you can simply send different values. The same code works again and again. In this way, professional developers avoid duplication by designing reusable procedures that accept parameters. This makes application easier to maintain and update. Let's bring everything together by looking at this. Function calculate tax into bracket salary as double. We will then say calculate tax is equal to salary times 0.10. We can simply call it by saying tax is equal to calculate tax into bracket 5,000. This will return the value 500. This simple flow is used in almost every professional application. Today we've learned what it means to pass data between procedures, the difference between parameters and arguments, how to pass multiple values, how functions use parameters, common beginner mistakes, and how professional developers write reusable code. Mastering parameters and arguments is one of the biggest steps towards writing professional VB applications because it allows different parts of your program to work together efficiently. In the next episode, we will explore a topic that often confuses beginners, but is essential for building reliable applications. We will look at the difference between by val and by rev in Excel VBA. In that episode, you will learn how VBA passes data to procedures, why values sometimes changes unexpectedly, and how to decide whether to use by val or by rev. If you found this tutorial helpful, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe for more Excel VBA development tutorials from Rafina Systems. And in the comments below, answer this question. Have you ever created a procedure that accepts parameters? If so, what did it do? I would love to hear about the application you are building. Thank you for watching and see you in the next episode of the Rafina Systems Excel VBA Developer Series. Bye for now.